หลักสูตรระดับปริญญาตรี 3 หลักสูตร สาขาวิชาวิทยาศาสตร์และเทคโนโลยีการอาหาร สาขาวิชาเทคโนโลยีการหมักในอุตสาหกรรมอาหาร สาขาวิชาวิศวกรรมแปรรูปอาหาร หลักสูตรระดับปริญญาโท 3 หลักสูตร สาขาวิชาวิทยาศาสตร์การอาหาร สาขาวิชาเทคโนโลยีการบริการอาหารและการจัดการ สาขาวิชาการจัดการความปลอดภัยอาหาร หลักสูตรระดับปริญญาเอก 1 หลักสูตร สาขาวิชาวิทยาศาสตร์การอาหาร หลักสูตรนานาชาติคณะของเราเน้นการพัฒนาผลิตภัณฑ์อาหาร นวัตกรรม และโครงงานวิจัย เพื่อนำไปสู่การสร้างเทคโนโลยีทางอาหารที่สามารถแก้ไขปัญหาได้จริง เราจะเป็นสถาบันแนวหน้าที่ผลิตบุคลากรและสร้างนวัตกรรม เพื่อพัฒนาอุตสาหกรรมอาหารให้เป็นที่ยอมรับในระดับสากล
คณะอุตสาหกรรมอาหารมีการเรียนการสอนเกี่ยวกับอาหารนักศึกษาจะได้เรียนรู้ฝึกคิดวิเคราะห์และปฏิบัติจริงในห้องเรียนห้องปฏิบัติการมีการฝึกงานและสหกิจศึกษาที่สถานประกอบการและมีการศึกษาโจทย์วิจัยที่เกี่ยวข้องกับอาหารที่ทันสมัยคณะมีหลักสูตรระดับปริญญาตรีที่มีการเรียนการสอนครอบคลุมทุกด้านของอุตสาหกรรมอาหารทั้งหมด 4 หลักสูตรได้แก่ 1. หลักสูตรวิทยาศาสตร์และเทคโนโลยีการอาหาร 2. หลักสูตรเทคโนโลยีการหมักในอุตสาหกรรมอาหาร 3. หลักสูตรวิศวกรรมแปรรูปอาหาร และ 4. หลักสูตรวิทยาศาสตร์การประกอบอาหารและการจัดการการบริการอาหารหลักสูตรนานาชาติสิ่งอำนวยความสะดวกในคณะมีอุปกรณ์ที่พร้อมต่อการเรียนการสอนมีอุปกรณ์และเครื่องมือการแปรรูปอาหารการวิเคราะห์และตรวจสอบคุณภาพอาหารที่ทันสมัยทั้งในระดับห้องปฏิบัติการและในระดับอุตสาหกรรมมีห้องปฏิบัติการการครัวที่พร้อมรองรับการเรียนการสอนรวมถึงร้านอาหารต้นแบบให้นักศึกษาได้ฝึกปฏิบัติเพื่อการเรียนรู้ของนักศึกษาช่วยสนับสนุนและส่งเสริมทักษะปฏิบัติของนักศึกษาให้เป็นไปอย่างมีประสิทธิภาพสูงสุด
So thank you. So good morning, everyone. So today our webinar in the morning sections, and I would like to welcome all of you, all participants, and the guest speaker to be with us today. So it is my great pleasure to welcome all of you to the World Food Series at Food Industry KMITR webinar. And now we are on the episode 10 already in the topic of food production development of local seafood, a multidisciplinary project between the food science student and design student. And today we had a special guest, that's Mr. Sean, or I would like to call him TC, right? Yes. Department of the Health and Food Science in Hong Kong Institute of Vocational Education, Siwan, Hong Kong. And today we not just discuss about the food science, but we are like combinations between the food science area and another area student. I think this is very important topic and very interesting one. And this is the first time that we are cooperation together and set up these projects. And we hope so we can continue these relationships in the further. So thank you very much to join for our webinar today. But before we starting, I would like to introduce a little bit about our speaker today. So Mr. T.C. Chan is he graduated from the Master of Philosophy in Toxicology and the Master of Public Health, and now he is the lecturer at the Department of Health and Life Science in Hong Kong Institute of Vocational Education on Chiwan, and now he is the lecturer and take care of the many of the class like nowadays is the epidemics of food-related illness and biosystematic statistics, food toxicologies, food microbiology, and food safety, and a lot of projects with food toxicologies. And now we are on the good hand today. So not waste the time. So Miss the guest speaker. So I will give the floor to Mr. Chan. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. So
Thank you for your introduction. Sawadee Krap.
That's good.
I can speak. Okay. Especially on behalf of the Hong Kong Institute of Vocational Education, I would like to thanks for giving me a chance to share with one of our student project with the collaboration with the design student. And in fact, I met Dr. Oh before the pandemic. Okay, so we have a long friendship. And at that time, the student of Thailand, I still remember at that time, the student of Thailand and Hong Kong, they have a collaboration, a project collaboration. And the students were also planning to visit Hong Kong. However, because of the pandemics, the student exchange activities was canceled. However, we're still keeping our friendships, and I hope that, okay, after the pandemic, we can have more face-to-face student exchange activities, okay? Before I start to share my project, I also want to give you a brief introduction of the Vocational Training Council by showing you a video. And in fact, VTC, Vocational Training Council, is the organization which our institutes belongs to. So we have a very close relationship. So I would like to show you what we are doing in Hong Kong on vocational training first.
Oh, it's with the great pleasures.
May I know you can hear the sound?
Yes, clearly.
Okay, then I move on.
The origin of vocational and professional education and training dates back to the 1930s. The red brick house where the VTC Tower stands today was once the annex building of the first technical institution that trained technical talent. 4 more technical institutes were founded in the 1970s, injecting new momentum into vocational training. The Vocational Training Council is a nexus for talent development, enabling aspirations and potentials to be realized. Over the decades, vocational and professional education and training, VPET, has contributed to Hong Kong's economic and social development. The VTC's 13-member institutions provide a comprehensive range of pre-employment and in-service programs with recognized qualifications. VPET enables young people with diverse abilities to pursue their interests and acquire professional skills.
30幾年前喺工業學院讀書，俾到機會我去尋找自己嘅興趣同埋專長。呢段學習生涯帶俾我好多實踐機會同埋美好回憶。畢業後由做工程管理到而家公司做到上市，所得所學終身受用。
I have always been curious about the marine environment. VTC vocational and professional education and training gave me valuable opportunities to carve out a professional career. Now I'm keen to share my experience with the young generations, inspiring them to work towards their career goals.
廚藝唔單止講求食材同烹飪技巧，仲要結合創意、文化同科學元素。好幸運得到 VTC 資深導師嘅指導同鼓勵，成就今日嘅事業。
Sustainability has become a trend of the engineering and construction industry. Study the vocationally oriented degree program at CI equipped me with professional knowledge and essential understanding of future trends. I hope I can help contribute to building a green city.
Young people have different talents and aspirations, and the traditional education pathway may not be solved. My son is an example who has been transformed to vocational and professional education training. My son is now continuing his studies at the university to further widen his horizon.
Over the years, the VTC has established close ties with institutions and organizations worldwide to provide students with quality articulation options. Our collaboration with different industry partners also enables us to integrate new knowledge with teaching and learning and offer internship and project opportunities in the real work world.
MTR Corporation is very supportive of VTC in developing skilled talents for industry and society. Collaborations with VTC on Earn and Learn scheme, internships, and industry projects have created a win-win model for industry and society. We have many VTC graduates working in our company and contributing to our success.
VTC and Microsoft, we share same missions to empower young generations through professional and vocational education. Digital skill sets are fundamentals for all industries and professions. VTC is the first vocational education provider with the authorized education center for Microsoft certifications. We treasure the strategic partnership with VTC.
With their creative minds and multidisciplinary knowledge, VTC students and alumni are able to make positive contributions to society.
In the years to come, we will forge even closer partnership with the government and industry. We will continue to build a smart study environment, digitalize our curriculum, and foster cross-disciplinary learning to nurture innovative talent for today and tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. In fact, our Institute, Hong Kong Institute of Vocational Education is one of, which is, sorry. Okay, in fact, the Hong Kong Institute of Vocational Education in Taiwan is one of the institutes that are under VTC. And in our institute, we have a program, higher diploma in food technology and safety, to prepare the student for working in the food industry. And because of the pandemic, you can't visit our institutes and also cannot have a visit to our facility or laboratories, but no problem. I can show you by a virtual tour to see how our laboratory is. Okay, here you can have a virtual tour to our food technology laboratory. And in fact, in our institute, we have two laboratories specialized in teaching the students of food technology and safety. And here is one of it. This is a food technology laboratory. You can see, okay, we have a quite modern and well-equipped laboratory for training the student on food technologies. And you can see the equipment here. We have the equipment like the spray dryer, okay, for productions of milk powders. We also have the equipment for cooking, like the stack oven, the refrigerators, and here on this side you can see the fish dryer, okay, and the mixer for making dough. And we also have some equipment for the student to learn, okay, how to operate those equipment in the real workplace. For example, you can see we have a canning machine, okay, even it is a bit old, but it still functions. It's a canning machine, and we also have a retort, and teaching the student how to produce the canned foods. We also have a pilot plant on heat treatments for heat treatment of foods. And here this production line is similar to the one that you can find in the milk factory, but the size is much more smaller. Okay, so the student can learn how to pasteurize the milk, and then after pasteurizations, the milk will be sent to this side. We have a ice cream maker. Okay, so you can use the milk to make the ice cream, and we also have other facilities like this is a squeezer for producing fruit juice. We also have this is a brass freezer. Okay, then teaching the student how to produce the foods, okay, safely. And in this side, okay, in the other end, you can also find sensory evaluation room. Okay, this is a sensory evaluation room, so that the student, after making the foods, they can use the sensory evaluation rooms to carry out the sensory evaluations. And this is one of our laboratory for food testing. And we also have another laboratory on food testing.
Wow, very impressive.
Let's try to show you. Okay, maybe I start my presentation. Some technical problem cannot show you the virtual tour of another lab. Maybe you can have face-to-face, in-person visit to our institute, and you can
of course
know what we have in our food testing lab. Okay,
yes.
Maybe I can start.
Okay. It is on the website, right? So we can go through the website to see the visual tour.
Yeah.
Okay, so Don't forget to see that very impressive laboratory.
Because I'm not quite familiar with the use of Zoom, so maybe I have to wait for a while.
Okay, no problems.
Okay, that's good.
Okay.
Because in our institute, we use MS Teams for online teaching.
Yes, when
So
I
I'm not
teaching, I
quite-
use Microsoft Team too.
Yeah, so I'm not quite familiar with the use of Zoom. Okay,
Okay, Kiri.
here is
Okay.
the presentation of our today's topics.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, I would like to share with you one of our project, okay, with the Design Institutes, okay. This is a food product development project using the local seafoods. And the project is a multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary project between the food science student and the design student. And through this study, in fact, several years ago, our institutes encourage us to conduct more and more multidisciplinary projects, so that we start to line up with other disciplines, okay, like the design disciplines for the possibilities of collaborations of student projects. So why multidisciplinary project, okay? And after the starting of our project, we eventually, the design disciplines colleagues, they were interested in one of our project, which helping the local fishermen to develop their new products by using the seafoods. The collaboration, in fact, is quite rewarding, and that is why I would like to share with you what we learned from the interdisciplinary project. Okay, for the project, I think both of us, I think the student of Thai and the student of Hong Kong also have a similar experience. They love to do new product developments in their final year projects. And my students usually have the final year projects in food product development. Don't know whether the student in Thailand also have are also similar in their final year project. And but according to my experience with my student conducting those food product developments, I usually found, okay, the student cannot, if they want to start their project, okay, they would consider two things, okay. The one of the most important things they would consider is technology, but they seldom consider the needs of the customers, okay. So usually their projects are what I call a technology-driven project, rather than a customer need-driven. I would like to use examples to illustrate what's meant by a technology-driven food development project. This is a 3D food printer. I think probably you have used it before. And about 5 years ago, okay, we introduced a 3D food printer to our laboratory. And since then, many students start to produce their so-called new product with the 3D printer. But if you have the experience of using 3D printer, okay, you might probably know that not all the food ingredients are fit for the 3D printing. And the 3D printer can only print the soft ingredients, because the ingredient have to be injected, okay, through the cartridge, okay, otherwise they can't make the products. Okay, so the food ingredients they usually use the mashed potatoes or minced meat or anything, they would put it into the blender and to blend it down and to make it soft enough to be printable by the printer. And as the foods are soft in nature, so the student claim that those foods are good for the elderly because they found that the elderly usually have poor teeth. And also they usually have the problem with swallowing. But I sometimes ask my student, do the elderly really like eating soft food? Okay, and have they listened to what the elderly said, what they really want? Okay, and in fact, if we can't, okay, and if we don't know the needs of the customer, okay, if we don't know the needs of the customer and keeps on producing what we so-called the new products by ourselves, then the product cannot be a successful products in the market. And that is what I call the technology-driven food product development project. In fact, we came across with similar experience before. And many years ago, our lab is introduced with slow cookers, slow cooker, and then lots of the students are engaged in the study of how to use the slow cooker to produce the food, new food products, without knowing whether the customers like it or not. I think it is the weakness, okay? I think it is the weakness of the science student, a food science student, because they just focused on the technology aspects, and they can't think out of the box. And so I think collaborations between science and design students can help the student to study the problem from more perspectives. So we encourage the student to have collaborations with the design student. And our food science student, they are responsible for the technology parts, but the design students can contribute their talents in packaging designs or branding. So we join to work, the student of both disciplines join to work on a project, upcycling of pure oyster meat and EcoTour, I think 2 years ago. So we set up a team, between the student of two disciplines, and the student of the design disciplines. They are studying the high diploma in visual communications. They mainly contribute for the design and the branding of the new products, whereas our student, they are studying the high diplomas in food technology and safety. They are mainly contributes to the technology aspect of the projects. So students of both disciplines, in fact, they have different talents and different training and different knowledge and skills. So when they are working together, they form a team. They can working together to address the needs of the end users, rather than just making the food they think the end user like. And collaboration also involves different stakeholders, like the clients. The client here refers to the fishermen. They are our clients because they provide the material, the food ingredient, or the seafoods for us to study. So we treasure all the opinions the opinions of all stakeholders in this collaboration. And this sort of collaborations, in fact, is quite similar to what they may find in the real workplace. So the student can have some experience before they leave the college or the institutes. They can have some experience of what the real workplace are actually happening. And what did we learn from the designer? Okay, in this collaboration, in fact, we learned quite a lot of things from the designers. The first things we learn is that, okay, what makes a new product a successful product? Okay, this is the I think it is the key questions for any food product development professionals. May I have the opinions of the Thailand student? Can you give me some ideas what makes a new food products a successful product? Any opinion from our Thailand students, so that we can have more interactions?
I think no one will be answer you. So let me guess what's the make new food product successful. I think the first thing is they're looking outside. That's look
appearance.
tasty. Appearance,
Okay.
yes.
Yes, that's good. The product tastes good. Okay, does it taste good? I think it's a key question. Okay, if the product doesn't taste good, then I think no consumer would buy it. Okay, but I don't think it is the only factors that make a product successful or not. We still have to consider other factors. Okay, even we have very good products. Okay, in terms of taste or flavor, the aromas or the texture. Okay, this is all the things that we may consider in the food laboratories. Okay, but what makes a food product successful also relies on other factors, such as identifying the needs of the customer. That is what we learn from the designer, because they spend lots of time. Okay, in fact, they spend lots of the time to identify the needs of the customer before they produce a product. And they teach us how to use a method that called design thinking. Have you heard about this before? Design thinking, do you know what it is? And in fact, it is one kinds of methods to identify the needs of the end user. Okay, no matter you are making foods or electronic products or furnitures or anything else. Okay, you can also use the similar methods to identify the needs of the customers. And identify the needs of the customer is the most crucial part when you start a new product development project, because if you don't know the needs, okay, you just work for what you like, okay, and end up with no customer would like to buy it, then it will not make your product successful. And other factors also important that we learn from the designer is that we have to consider the presentations of the products, and that is what we mean by package design. And I think it is also one of the areas that the food scientists are weak in. Okay, they can produce a product with good flavor, good aromas, good texture, but they fail to present the products to the customer. They don't know how to make the package look more appealing, okay, so that they can attract the customers to buy the products. And the third one, okay, also what we learn from the designer is that we have to consider the product promotion skills or product promotion strategies. Okay, they give us some new ideas on how to promote food products. And usually, when we would like to promote the food products or any products like electronic products or any fashions, we would tell the customer about the features or the characteristics of the products. And that is what we call we sell the products to the customer and tell them the features, the characteristics, what kinds of services we can provide to them. But okay, sometimes it is not an effective way to sell a product, okay? Because we can also sell a product in another way. That is, we can sell a product, okay, by means of using a story or using a values, okay, sale of a value of sale story. Here, I would like to use an examples of the fair trade coffee as examples to illustrate how to sell a value or how to sell a story. I think, okay, we know what's meant by fair trade, okay? Fair trade, usually the fair trade products are more expensive than the other bought products, okay? If you want to buy some coffee bean, okay, if you want it produced by fair trade, then usually it would require you more money. But have you asked the people why, okay, why they would like to spend more money on coffee bean produced by fair trade? Is it the taste of the fair trade coffee bean better than that of the others? I think probably no. Okay, I don't find the coffee bean of the fair trade produced by fair trade is better than the other coffee bean. But people would like to spend more on fair trade product because they would like to, okay, they would like to support, okay, they would like to buy the product as a support of the value that the product is being promoted. Okay, that is very important. Okay, so sometimes we can sell a product by means of promoting a value or by means of a story. Okay, instead of just telling the people what the product is about. Okay, this is design thinking process that, but I'm not, because I don't have too much time, then I would just skip it. Okay, it is in fact, it is a method for helping us to identify the needs of the end user. So by means of the method the designers use, okay, they start with visiting Pure Farm, okay. They organize a visit for the student to have a experience on the Pure Farm. Okay, Pure Farm is a farm that the fishermen that they waste the pure oyster. Through the Pure Farm, through the visit of the Pure Farm, that the student can actually see the life of a fisherman and their cultures, as well as the challenges that the fishermen are facing with. And the designer teachers, okay, also different from the approach of food technologies. They also use workshop, okay. So after the visit, they organize workshop for the food science student and the design student to help them to identify the features of the fishermen cultures, because they want to sell the product through the value, through the story of the fishermen. So the first thing that we need to know is the features of fishermen cultures. And so they organize visit, and then they come back to the Design Institute to organize the workshop for students of both disciplines. The workshop is quite interesting. They use the Lego. Okay, Lego is the toy. Okay, that I think most of us played with when we were young. Okay, and they use the Legos. Okay, to present their ideas on what they think of the features of the fishermen cultures. Okay, and this is quite interesting workshop because the Lego, in fact, can turn the ideas, okay, or the features of the fishermen cultures to be visualized, so that it can promote the student communication. So they are discussing. Okay, here this photo shows you that they are discussing through the Lego, the model that made by the Legos, then to discuss what are the features of the fishermen cultures in Hong Kong. So after the visit and after the workshops, they also identified some of the challenges or some of the problems that the fishermen in Hong Kong are facing with. And one of the problem is related to the pure oyster meat. And because of the oyster meat, okay, the current use of the oyster meat is quite limited. And in fact, the supply of the oyster meat is not regular. And they only collect the peel, okay, several times a year. And at the time when they collect the pearls, then they would end up with a loss of pure meat, oyster meat. And the oyster meat have a very limited usage. The most commonly used is for feeding the fish, okay, because usually the pure farmers also keeping fish. So they also have their fish farm, and so they collect the pure oyster meat and use it as the feeding stuff for the fish. Or sometimes if there's too many oyster meat, then they would just discard it, okay, after collection of peel. Or some of the very traditional way of preservations, the seafood used by the local fishermen is sun drying. Okay, so some of the oyster meats are sun dried for preservation. This is a very primitive method for food preservation. And the target customer of the dried oyster meat are usually the elderly. And it is used for the preparations of what we call the double stew soup. In Chinese, it's called Lao Fo Tang. And what is double stew soup or Lao Fo Tang is, in fact, it is traditional dish. Okay, it is a traditional dish that the elderly usually prepare. And the double stew soup is prepared by boiling the ingredient. Okay, usually the ingredient including the Chinese medicines with the meat or some dried seafood, and boil it for several hours. Okay, and they believe that frequent consumptions of the Lao Fo Tang could improve the health conditions. However, okay, the younger generation has no interest with the products, as they usually do not prepare their own meals. So how can you expect from a young generation to buy your dried oyster meat for preparations of Lao Fo Tang if they don't even prepare their own meals? Okay, because nowadays, usually the young generation have a very long working hours, and they used to eating out, or they just buy the takeaway. Okay, so they seldom prepare their own meals. So probably those young generations would not buy those dry oyster meat and end up in those products being go to the landfill. So here, this photo shows you, okay, the collections of peel from the peel oyster. Okay, this is the most valuable parts of the oyster, and this is the meat of the oyster. And the peel, okay, will make profit. The fishermen will make profit from the peel, the collected from the peel oyster, but the oyster may become the waste, okay, the food waste. And we estimated about 60,000 oyster, okay, oyster would become the waste, okay, and going to the landfill. So it is a problem, okay. I think it is also a problem of environmental pollution. So our food science student, okay, the food science students try to turn the pure oyster meat into food products, and they aim at making use of the pure oyster meat to develop a new products. Okay, it can be consumed by people of all age groups. Okay, not just the elderly. And they also suggest to sell the products in the tourist centers as a way to promote the local fishery industry. Okay, why do we suggest selling the products in the tourist centers instead of in the supermarkets or in the public? It is because, okay, the supply of the pure oyster meat is not regular. Okay, we can only get a large amounts of pure oyster meat when the fishermen collect the peels. And after collecting the peels, then we don't have the supply of pure oyster meat. So it would make a mass productions of food products using pure oyster meat a problem. So we suggest not to use it, okay, for the sales in the supermarket. But we suggest to make a product, okay, that can promote fishery industry. Okay, so we suggest to sell it in the tourist centers. So when the tourists visit the fishing raft, okay, they can buy the products, and then through the product we can promote the local fishery industry to our younger generations. And so the product can start to be some way to conserve our cultural heritage. Okay, one of our cultural heritage is local fishery industry. And in fact, in the past, okay, Hong Kong used to be a very important fishery village in the past. And most of the people at that time rely on the seafood, okay, as their main in their main diet. But nowadays, okay, the fishery industry are under declining, and we would like to do something to preserve that heritage and let the young generations to know the past history of Hong Kong. And we don't want, okay, just this very valuable cultural heritage being disappear. And so we end up in a productions, okay, of exo-sauce, okay, using pure oyster meat. The student come up with this idea because, okay, but I think I have to firstly explain what's meant by exo-sauce. I think not most of the people know what it is, in particular the Thailand people. Do you have the experience of eating exo-sauce before? Do you know what it is?
Yes, like a sauce to stir fry with rice.
Yeah.
Didn't sure.
Okay. I think probably maybe some of the people have consumed XO sauce, eating XO sauce before. In fact, XO sauce is a condiment developed by a chef in Hong Kong in early 1980, and the sauce is named. And the sauce is named after the expensive XO cognac. XO cognac.
I know that.
It
Alcohol beverage.
This is a very expensive wine. This costs you more than, I think, $100 per bottle. Okay. And the term XO is a slang for something that is high quality and considered as luxury in Hong Kong. So people use XO to describe something with very high quality, very luxury. So we try to develop a new XO sauce by modifying the recipe of XO sauce with the dry pure oyster meat. Okay, why we want to make a new XO sauce rather than the other food products is firstly because the new XO sauce can be consumed easily. Okay, you can use it for eating, adding it to the noodles, directly adding it to the noodles and make it more delicious. Or you can use the XO sauce to prepare the vegetables, to fry the vegetables with XO sauce. So it doesn't need a very long time, okay, for the preparations of what I just mentioned before, the Lao Fo Tang. It has to be boiled for several hours before consumption. And we want to turn the dry oyster meat, okay, into something which can be easily consumed. Okay, it doesn't need too much time for preparations. And the other reasons that we want to produce an XO sauce is because there's some changes in our eating habit in I think in the past 10 or 20 years in Hong Kong. And as you know, okay, in Hong Kong is located in the southern part of China. And the people living in southern part and northern part of China, their diet is quite different, and their appetite is also quite different. And the people in the northern part of China, they love spicy and hot foods. But people living in southern part of China, in the past they used to eat food with not so strong flavor or strong aromas. But I think in the past 10 or 20 years, because lots of different dishes from over the world are introduced into Hong Kong, including the dishes of the northern part of the China, also including the dishes introduced by the Thailand people. And so we have a lot of Thailand restaurants here, and also the restaurants of eating the Southeast Asia food, and they are also very spicy and quite hot. And so gradually, the people in Hong Kong adapted to eating food with hot and spicy. And so there are some changes in terms of their eating habit or appetite. So we think that XO sauce, may be a good product, for the younger generations, because they love to go eating out. Okay, they consume dishes from different countries. They easily adapted for food which is spicy and hot. And so we think that productions of new XO sauce using dry pure oyster meat may be a good idea. So our objectives of the food science student first is to develop a new XO sauce using the meat of pure oyster, and the second objective is to evaluate the consumer preference of the pure oyster XO sauce. And the third objective is to estimate the shelf life of the pure oyster XO sauce. Okay, this is the ingredients of the pure oyster pure oyster XO sauce, okay, you can find that it contains a lot of expensive ingredients. So that's why we call it XO sauce. It is made of pure oyster. Okay, this is the new ingredient we added into the XO sauce, and it also contains the dry shrimp, Jinhua ham. Jinhua ham is a kind of fermented ham. Okay, in China, people eating in China. We also include the dry shallot, garlic, chili, pepper, soy sauce, sugar, xiu hing wine, and the most important ingredient is rice bran oil. Okay, so in fact it is oil. Okay, even it is called a sauce but in fact it is what we can call it a chili oil. Okay, because the major ingredients of the product are oil. Okay, after producing the products, we have to do some product testing, okay, to see whether the XO sauce is good or acceptable by the customers or not. So the question we ask, okay, in our project is how the new XO sauce is similar or different from the XO sauce found in the market. And the second question we ask is, would the customer prefer the new XO sauce or the other sauces XO sauce found in the market? And in fact, in the supermarket, in our local supermarket, it has different brands. Okay, different brands of XO sauce. You can find. Okay, if we introduce one more XO sauce to the market, we want to know whether the customer prefer it or not. And we also want to know how long the new XO sauce can be stored and what parameter can be used to estimate the shelf life of the new XO sauce. Okay, and we also come across with a problem because the XO sauce usually have a rather long shelf life of more than 1 year, but our student projects only last for 1 year. So if they want to determine the actual shelf life of the XO sauce, it is impossible because they have been graduated, okay, before the end of the shelf life. So we have to think of a method to estimate the shelf life of the XO sauce. Okay, so how can we answer these 5 questions? For the first question, okay, we want to study how a product is different from the other XO sauce, and the second questions, okay, would the customer prefer our products? These 2 questions can be answered by sensory evaluation methods, and the fourth and the fifth questions can be answered by chemical or microbial analysis. So we use the sensory methods, okay, including the descriptive test, okay, to see how our product is different or similar to the other XO sauce being found in the market. And the consumer preference test to test whether the consumer prefer our products or not. And for the shelf life determinations, we use the fat oxidation test. Okay, why we use fat oxidation test is because, as I have mentioned before, the major ingredients of our product is oil, and oil is easily subject to fat oxidation and causing the problem of residual smell. Okay, so we use the chemical method that called peroxide values to determine how great or how serious the problem of fat oxidation being found in our products, so as to determine the shelf life of our products. Okay, this is the results of our consumer descriptive tests. And in fact, we have according to the properties of our product, we select 5 different descriptive attributes to describe our products. It is the color, aroma, hardness, umami, which is one of the very important factors, and the saltiness. Okay, and we use a 5-point scale to ask. We ask the panels to use a 5-point scale to evaluate the performance of these 5 descriptive attributes of our new ExoSoft products as shown in the blue line, and the ExoSoft available in the market as shown in the orange line. And the diagram shows, okay, shows you here, you can find that, in fact, at the very beginning, I can tell you at the very beginning of the study, okay, we have conducted this sort of descriptive test for at least 3 times. And with each time we modify our recipe to change our recipe in order to make it comparable with the ExoSoft being found in the market. And after the 3rd trial, okay, we eventually come up with the final recipe, okay? And we can find the final recipe here is that, okay, compare with the ExoSoft being found in the market, we have better performance in terms of aroma, as well as umami and saltiness, okay? But because I have to admit that, okay, because of the pandemic, okay, that we have difficulties in recruiting the panels for the sensory tests, okay? So in fact, the result here we got is obtained from a small panel, okay? And we also conduct a consumer preference test, okay, to see whether the consumer like our products or not. And we use a consumer preference test, that is we present our new ExoSoft together with samples that of the leading band, one of the leading band of the ExoSoft being found in the market. We don't tell, of course, we don't tell which samples belongs to our new products or which samples belong to the products being found in the market. And we ask them to select one, okay, that they like, they prefer. And the result here we got, the results is obtained from a panel of 24 consumers. And you can see 54% of the individuals, they select our product, they prefer our products. And 45.8% of the people prefer the ExoSoft being found in the market. And with the p-value of less than 0.05. So our conclusion is that, okay, there's no significant difference, okay, between the new ExoSoft and the ExoSoft being found in the market in terms of consumer preference, or in other words, we can say that they are comparable, at least comparable, in terms of consumer preference. And this slide shows you the results of peroxide value of pure oyster ExoSoft storing for different durations. And as I have mentioned before, okay, our product is a product with high fat content, and product with high fat content usually spoilage of those high fat content food are usually associated with the problem of fat oxidation. And according to the standard of the food industry, okay, if the peroxide value is higher than 30 MEQ per kg, okay, then the food begins to spoil. Or in other words, the consumer may detect the presence of resin smell, okay, or aroma from the product. And we have measured, okay, the products storing for different duration. It is at the day of production, and after being stored for 4 months, and then after being stored for 5 months, we can't measure the peroxide value for longer period, further longer period of time, because the students are going to graduate. They can't wait for the products to become spoiled. Okay, so they use the value. Okay, the value collected from three different durations, using mathematical model, what we call regression models, to predict the shelf life of the new exosource. And from this graph, you can see, okay, the x-axis shows you the duration in month, okay, of storage, and the y-axis shows you the mean exo peroxide value. As I mentioned before, if a product with the peroxide value greater than 30, then we will define it as a spoiled product. So you can find from this graph that after about at 70 months, okay, the peroxide value of the products may reach the peroxide value of 30. So we suggest the shelf life of the new exosource products not longer than 70 months. Okay, this is the work of the science student. Then how about the design student? And design students also have their work. Okay, they are mainly responsible for packaging design and creating the band for the pure oyster exosource. They also responsible for making the marketing strategies of the products, and also responsible for promotion of local fishery industry by using our products. So what do they? What is their contribution here? We can show you the band logo. Okay, the band logo design by our design student, and this is the band logo. This is very beautiful. Okay, logos, and the logo also have meanings. Okay, in fact, if you look at this logo, it is decided by two, okay, with two small fish. Okay, here one, okay, two small fish tying up together like a lot, okay, to become a large fish, a bigger fish. Okay, so it has the meanings that it connecting with the next generation and passing on the story of the fishery industry to the new generation. So eventually, okay, finally we adopt this logo as the brand of our new products. And they also design some package prototypes. Okay, here is some of the prototypes. This is also some of the prototypes of the package the design student produced. And finally, okay, we adopt the this prototype as the packaging design of our new exosource. Okay, and this is the information of our exosource. In fact, this information is not just the work of the design student. It is also involved the work of the food science student, because okay, they have to tell the design student what sorts of informations have to be included in the food label, so that the products can comply with the food legislation in Hong Kong. And this is the package. Okay, this is the bottle. Okay, holding the exosource produced by Pure Meat. Okay, how about the promotion strategy that the design student figure out? Okay, they try to promote our products. Okay, using crossover of the products and eco tour. Okay, this is the idea the student, okay, design student come up with. They try to use a story, okay, fisherman story to promote the products. And the fisherman story included, okay, 3 things. The first thing is the listening to the sea, okay, and the second one is the watching the sea. And that these 2 things can happen in achieved in the eco tour. And the third component of the story is to fresh tasting, okay, to taste the freshness of the seafoods, and then making the people with strong memory, okay, memory of the local fishery industry. And they design some poster. Here is the poster for the eco tour, and the flag, okay, hanging on the boat, sending the people to the visiting site. And they are also planning to organize guided tour for the people to the pearl farms or the fish farm to see the life, okay, to see the life of the fishermen. And they also construct a journey, okay, a customer journey for promotion of the products. For example, they start with the departure and then bring the tourists to the fishermen visiting site, and where they can see the historical relics, and then they can also have the experience of fishing or claim collections. And then they return to the boat, and then finally the boat will send them to the market, fishery market, okay, the fisherman story market, where they can buy the jewelry, okay, produced by the pearl, as well as our products, the ExoSource product here, and the Slack products, and some other souvenirs. And so through this journey, okay, through this what we call the customer journey, then we try to promote the fishery industry, okay, to the publics, and make the younger generation to know more about our local fishery industry, as well as, okay, promoting our new ExoSource products. And they have also designed the T-shirt for the tourist guide, okay. The tourist guide will bring the tourists to the visiting site, and they also construct the QR code, okay, and the bells, okay, hand bells for the tourists as a souvenir. Okay. After making the products as well as the promotion strategies, and then we bring these ideas to the owner of the pearl farm. Here, this photo shows you is the owner of the Saigon Sunway fish farm, or the pearl farm. He also have a pearl farm, okay, in Saigon. He's the owner of the pearl farm in Saigon, is Mr. Leung, and we introduced the idea of the ExoSource, as well as the idea of eco tour to their pearl farm and fish farm. And Mr. Leung, okay, he appreciates our work, and he has also produced the pure oyster ExoSource for sales in the market. So now you can find our pure oyster ExoSource. You can buy the pure ExoSource from the market, even though it's not so popular, okay, because the amount of pure ExoSource is not so much, but people can still buy it through online, okay, online, or some of the outlet or retail stores. They can get the pure ExoSource that are produced by our food science and design student. And our product also draw lots of noise from the public, okay? And we have been interviewed by some social media and local magazines. So here you can see, okay, one of the interview, okay, made by Hong Kong 01, which is a social media, local social media. And you can also find here another interview by Eastern Daily, which is a newspaper, a very, very popular newspaper in Hong Kong. They report our products, okay? And report our new findings to the public. And I also received after the newspaper report, okay, to the public, I also received some telephones from the local retailer, food retailers, and asked me if we can provide some pure oyster sauce for them, okay, because they found the idea is very good. Okay, how about further investigation? In fact, our project is an ongoing project with the fishermen. So after developing the XO sauce using the oyster meat, we would also like to continue our study of developing other new seafood products using other ingredients, such as we are planning to use dry the small fish, okay, to make some fish powder, okay, the powder can be used to add into the sushi, okay, the Japanese food, okay, to increase the flavor and aroma. And also in Hong Kong, we had lots of squid, okay, but it is quite seasonal. In particular, during the autumn, we have a large amounts of squid collected, and the market cannot absorb all those products. And then we suggest, okay, how about to turn the squid into the canned squid products, so that it can be kept for a longer period of time. And so this is the two new products we are undergoing. So what we have achieved, okay, for this project, we had achieved, firstly, we can help the fishermen to make more profit. Otherwise, those shell meat will be discarded as food waste. And we also, okay, through this process, we can reduce the food waste, okay, produced in Hong Kong. And lastly, but not least, okay, we can also use our product to promote the fishery industry. Otherwise, the next generation would just forget our very valuable cultural heritage. So this is the first step of our multidisciplinary collaborations, okay? In fact, now this is the first time we collaborate with design students, but in fact, we are still looking for other collaboration opportunities, like collaborations with the student studying health science, and also why not collaborate with the business guy, okay, to draw some new ideas on how to sell our products. Or we can use maybe we can collaborate with the IT professionals to help us how to trace our products more effectively. And also we may also collaborate with other technologists, okay, like mechanical or electrical engineering, okay, to see how they can have input to our food production process. So this is the end of my presentations, and here these 4 students, they are the students that are responsible for this project. Okay, these 2, okay, on the left hand side is design student, And these two guys, okay, on the right side are our food science student. Okay, so this is the end of my presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Okay. Thank you very much for Mr. Chan's two very nice presentations and very impressive that the projects can be really used and support the local business, because mostly when we talking about the product developments in food science, mostly in the lab, but it's not extend to be like a real usings, or in my faculty is not yet relating with the local business or something. This is a new idea for us that can be applied for our faculty in the futures, and I think there's much more inspiration to the student, so they are encourage them, like not just like a development and in the lab and finish just only presentations.
May I know if you also have similar kinds of collaborations in Thailand?
Yeah, but actually they have the many, because Thailand, they produce a lot of food.
Yeah.
So many local community would like us to help them to develop the products, but sometimes they need a short time to developing, but the student take a long time, right? So they like need like a very long, like a 2 or 3 months. So sometimes it's quite not in this rush out. So we are on the questions and answer sections, and we have limited time left, so that we have some questions from the audience, so a few questions. So the students asking that from your result, they say the pearl oyster eco source is must be acceptable more than the normal one. So what do you think why the pearl oyster sauce is much more tasty than the selling in the supermarket, in your ideas?
Okay, thank you for your questions. And in fact, some people sometimes ask us why we can produce better products than those found in the market, and they would like to ask us, is there any secret, okay, that being kept, okay, that we don't tell them? But in fact, it's not difficult to produce a product which is comparable or even better than those products being found in the market, simply because people in different countries or people living in different places, they have different eating habits, and their appetites are also different. Okay, take for examples. I know that you have produced kimchi. Okay, we also have conduct a project in producing kimchi, organic. We call it organic kimchi. Okay, we use all the ingredients which is organic in nature, but we are Chinese. We are not familiar with making kimchi, because kimchi, I think, it is the food of Korea. But but eventually we can produce a kimchi that is even better than the kimchi produced by Korea, simply because the food preference of Korea and the Chinese are different. Okay, just take for example, the Chinese don't like the kimchi is too hot. Okay, so we reduce the hotness. Okay, we reduce the amounts of chili powder added into the kimchi, and the Chinese also don't like the kimchi is too salty. Okay, so we reduce the amounts of salt added into the kimchi, and eventually, okay, we come up with products that can be comparable or even better than the kimchi produced by Korea. Simply because when we are making the new products, and in fact we are keep comparing our product with our competitors. in terms of their sensory attributes, like the hotness, the spiciness, the sweetness, the texture, all the things we will keep comparing during the new product development process. So when we find our product is weaker, weaker than the competitors in terms of some aspect, then we will fine tune our products to make it better. So it is through this way, this method, that we can eventually make a better, either comparable or even better than our competitors. It's not difficult.
Okay, so that is not difficult.
Simply because
Yes.
the difference between people of different different countries, they love different flavor, taste. So we just what we call engineer, like an engineer. We fine tune the taste, the smell, the flavor, so make it suitable for the preference of the people in Hong Kong.
I see. So there has a questions. I think I saw in your slide some of it. They say that except of the design student, they had another kind of the student or the faculty that can be joined together with the food science student. I think you showed in some slide, right? Get the business, the health, or something. Yes. So they can be joined together. In here, we also have the engineering, and we also have the dual program for the food processing engineering and industrial engineering too. So this is very nice. We have the faculty of architecture, and they have the product design, but we never joined them. So they have the question is, how long the student need to do these projects, and now is product is available in the market or not?
And in fact, the whole project lasts for 1 year, but in fact the student has spent about half to a life month, half a year to life months to complete their project, and actually now the products can be found in the market, but not so popular because the quantity is not so much. You can the people can buy the product from online or from some food retailers. Yes, you can find it now in the market.
So they're asking that they have another project, something like this. Could you get example?
We also have some collaboration with health. People with health. For example, you know that one of the problems the people here in Hong Kong facing with is hypertension. Hypertension is a very common problem. In particular in the elderly, as well as even in the people in the middle age. And hypertension may increase the risk of stroke or other cardiovascular disease. So as a food scientist, we can join with the health professionals to develop some new products. With less salt, because we know that one of the risk factor of hypertension is salt consumption. So if we can reduce the consumption of salt, then we can drop our blood pressure. So one of our pressure previously we have done previously is try to reduce the salt of potato chips. Particularly if you have you have the experience of visiting McDonald's. They will give you potato chips. Adding with lots of salt. And we try to design some potato chips that can reduce their salt consumption, but at the same time can keep the flavor, the saltiness of the products. And we have tried to use potassium chloride, okay, to replace sodium chloride, so that we can keep down the consumptions of salt. And we, according to the medical journal, we also know that potassium chloride can help reducing the blood pressures of patients. So it might be a good idea. Okay, so we can working with the health guide, okay, health professionals that to see, okay, they want to give the patients to persuade or encourage the patients to consuming less salt, but the patient complain that the foods that with low salt not taste good. So this is what the food scientists can help. Okay.
Okay, so because food is the everyone issue, right? We have to eat it every day. So we are relating with many areas. So
it's a very interesting project. Okay. We use the method of sensory evaluations to compare the potato chips added with sodium chloride and potassium chloride added to get mixed up with sodium chloride to see they are different in terms of saltiness, whether the people can detect the difference. We found that if we add the amounts of potassium chloride in appropriate proportions, then in fact, the panel cannot detect the difference.
all right.
This is very interesting.
So the last question, maybe this question is not relating with the topic so much. The student asking, do you accept exchanging students? No.
Accepting student, yes, we accept international students.
All right.
Yes,
so
you can apply for our
you
program.
hear that?
Yeah, you can. We have we have scholarship. We have but you have to think of a problem is because as you know the price of the house is very high and the rent is also high. Okay, it may be a factor that may hinder, okay, for your student to apply for studying in Hong Kong because the rent is quite high.
Yes, I also have relative over there, and he said that it's very difficult. Even the car parking is very high price.
Yes, yes, but we usually don't drive because we have a very convenient what we call MT, mass transit railway system.
I
so people
see.
usually don't drive.
That is good one. So I think we are run out of time, and maybe the question is just only that. If you have the question, you can ask later on. So we are in the end of the sections already. The time is very fast flying, and we have got a lot of knowledge. But before we gonna leaving today, I would like you to show your face a little bit so we can take a photo together.
Okay.
All right. So everyone is preparing. Do you looking good already? So please open your camera so we can take a photo together. Wow, someone had the effect too, right? Okay, so we will take a photo in the count 5. So 1, 2, 3, smiling. Okay, another one, please. 1, 2, 3, smiling. Okay, nice one. So thank you, everyone. So before we leaving, I would like you to get the certificate of attendance. So please sharing so everyone can be scan on QR codes or registrations via the Google form on the chat box. So you add in your name so you can get like certificates of attentions for today. So today we have to thank you very much for Mr. T.C. Chan for sharing us, but you still stay with me. I would like to continue to speaking with you so the student can leave first. But for the next webinar, could you go to the next webinar, please? The next time we will have the guest speaker from career. So the Professor Dr. Hong, he used to be visiting professor here. So save the date on Friday 39, he will talking about the fermentation soybeans and a lot of knowledge in food science. So save the date for the day. So thank you very much everyone to join us today, and hope you gain the knowledge about the food science that can applying with the many kind of area of food. And the very interesting thing that you can see the step of development of the products, except from the consumer start first, not your ideas first. So we got to continue to be the products and can be selling and relating with the local people. That is great of the benefit to them. So thank you very much for joining us today, and hope to see you in the next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Dr. Chan, stay with me a little bit.
Okay.
So my staff will close the live soon, and the student will be leave. So I would